Hey everyone, welcome to the GenTalk podcast where we talk about issues and topics from two different generations. My name is Tanwin and I'm a borderline Gen X / millennial, and with me here today is my son Ruben, a Gen Zer. So in this podcast, we'd like to talk about a variety of topics from these two different generations. Me being a Gen X and millennial, and Ruben from Gen Z. Now, before we begin, let me introduce myself to get you some context. My name is Tanwin Tanoto. I'm a migrant. So I was born in Indonesia, moved to Sydney, Australia in 1998. And I've lived in this beautiful city ever since. Now, as mentioned, I'm a borderline Gen X and millennial. Because depending on where you get your definition from, I'm either a late Gen Xer or a very early millennial, if that makes sense. So, Ruben, why don't you tell us about yourself?
I'm 13.
You're 13, yeah.
I go to St. George Christian School.
Okay, so how long have you been there?
I've been there for 2 years.
2 years.
Coming to 3 years.
So your year?
Yeah, coming to year 9.
Coming to year 9. So are you enjoying St. George?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good?
Pretty decent, yeah.
Okay, cool. So just for the audience to understand the generational thing, there's a lot of definitions out there, but I'm getting it from McCrindle, a social research company based in Australia. So from McCrindle, they define different generations and different eras such as this. So for those who are born between 1925 and 1945, they're called the builders. From 46 to 64, they are the baby boomers, the boomers. And from 65 to 79, they are the Gen Xer, Generation X. And people who are born from 1980 to 1994, they are called the Generation Y, or more commonly known as the Millennial. And for those who are born in 1995 to 2010, they are called the Generation Z, if you're American. So, okay, cool. Does your generation still say cool, or is it what is it? What do they call now?
I don't know. It's still language.
Is this
language? Cool.
Cool? Is it cool?
Yeah,
is it cool? All right.
Cool.
Or is it dope?
Nobody says dope.
Nobody says dope. Okay. Well, today we're going to talk about I think somewhat controversial topic. We're going to talk about tattoos.
Is it? I don't think it is. But...
It's not? Okay. Well, what do you think about tattoos then?
I just think it's a way to portray an image on yourself.
Okay.
Maybe a special event, special meaning, or just something because it looks cool.
Okay. So when you see someone with a tattoo, what is your initial reaction?
That either the tattoo itself has a lot of meaning, they have a lot of backstory.
Yep.
Or they just think it's cool.
Okay. So from your point of view, if you see someone with a tattoo, you will say, "Oh, that's interesting," and you want to know more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see it as an issue because if you see someone with tattoos, you might think they're a rebel or misbehave. But I don't see it that way.
Okay. So you're more drawn to the tattoo itself rather than put away or put off by the tattoo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. But what about your friends or your generations? Do you think they have the same impression or the same attitude towards tattoo?
I don't think it's talked about much because we're not allowed. It's not legal yet.
Okay. Oh, you're not allowed to get one. It's not that you're allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, but it's not talked about much because we're it's not for us.
Okay. So, but have you talked to your friends about tattoos, or does that topic ever come up?
Not that much, but I guess if you show it off to them, they'll be interested.
Okay, out of curiosity.
Yeah, out of curiosity, they'll maybe ask.
Just ask,
when did you get it, or what's that? Is there any meaning?
Okay.
They wouldn't. I don't think they would say anything more than that.
Okay. So it's more indifferent rather than. So it's neither positive or negative.
Yeah.
It's just something that's there.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So what do you think? When do you think it's not appropriate to have tattoos? Is there any? someone who's like inappropriate to have one?
I don't think so.
No?
I mean,
What if your teacher, for example,
yeah.
Into class, roll up his sleeve and show his not purposely showing off, but just it's a warm day, roll up his sleeve, and you see one or two tattoos. Do you think that's appropriate in a school setting?
I guess maybe, especially like now than before, I think it's more acceptable.
Right.
Than before, because I don't know. I think I've seen teachers with like nose rings or like dyed hair or whatever. So even in a Christian school, so I don't think tattoos are much of the problem. Maybe if it's a big one or if it's on their face or something.
It's like Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get the job.
So you think there is a case or a scenario where it is inappropriate, like when a teacher has a face tattoo, then that's not appropriate.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's cool. So does any of your teachers have tattoo that you know of?
Not that I know of.
No, they're not, because they're all wearing long sleeve and stuff, wearing a formal clothes. I think during the Christmas party, when we attended the teachers' Christmas party, there was a good chance to see if anyone has tattoo. Okay, interesting. So, but what about from a Christian's point of view? Because you've been you've grown in church. You literally you're almost born in church. You came to church in your first month, and you've been in church for the last 13, almost 14 years of your life. Do you think, from your point of view, does tattoo have a place in church, or do they have conflicts? What do you think about that?
God did say that your body is your temple.
Okay, so?
Yeah. So it's kind of like painting a little picture, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, you have tattoos, right?
Yeah.
Your tattoos have a symbolic meaning, correct?
Sure. Yep.
Exactly. So I wouldn't say that your tattoos are bad,
right?
But they do have a symbolic meaning. Like you have Christian tattoos, look at that. Like you have a verse on your arm.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you use that verse from the Bible, that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. Mm-hmm. That's the verse basically means. A lot of people that I know of, they use that verse to say that tattoo is bad. Because our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, then why do you mark it with tattoos? But here you are using the same verse that says, oh, it's just putting a painting in the temple, in the church. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it's no different from decorating yourself, It's like a little decoration.
All right, but it's more
like
permanent.
A little doodle on your body. Yeah.
But it's more permanent than putting a picture in church.
Yeah.
It's interesting though. It's very interesting that you use the same verse. I wouldn't say justify, but to make tattoo okay in a Christian setting, in a church setting, while other people use the same verse, but they use it to make, I think, to discount tattoo altogether. But do you know that in the Bible there's a verse that says you shouldn't have tattoo? Do you know that?
No, I did not.
No, you did not? Okay,
No.
well this is fresh information for you. This might change your perspective then in tattoo. So let me read it. So it's in Leviticus. So it is an Old Testament verse. So Leviticus 19, verse 28. So let me read it for you and for everyone. Leviticus 19, verse 28 says, "You shall not make any cuts on your body for the dead, or tattoo yourselves. I am the Lord." Have you heard that verse before?
No.
No? So
No,
you
I
should
have
not
not.
have cuts on your body and do not tattoo yourself. I am the Lord. What do you make of that?
Then why do you have them?
That's an interesting question. Well, it is interesting because I've heard a lot of people that just pick that verse and says, "Oh, you shouldn't have tattoos." But let me ask you a question. Are you wearing a different type of fabrics right at the moment?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
You're wearing
yeah.
cotton, and your shorts is a blend of khakis and whatever. And I'm wearing the same thing, 50% cotton, 50% wool or whatever. But do you know that the Bible also says not to mix fibers? No?
No, I
All
don't.
right. This just a few verses before that, actually. In the same chapter, verse 19 says, "You shall keep my statutes. You shall not let your cattle breed with a different kind." So you can't have different mix of cattle. "You shall not sow your field with two kinds of seed, and nor shall you wear a garment of clothes made of two kinds of material." But then I see people in church wearing a suit made out of wool and cotton. So I'm not discounting the God's law, but I'm saying there's a context in everything,
Yeah.
right? Why do we pick and choose the law? Which one is more suitable in church? Which one is not? But what I'm saying, although we're not going to talk about the law, but what I'm saying is there is a verse that says, "Do not get tattooed," but you need to get the whole context. Where were the people? Where were the Israelites back then? What happened just after that? What happened then? Is it a cultural thing, or is it a universal truth thing? Right? Is it a time thing, or is it like do not murder? That's universally true for us, in the Old Testament and the New Testament. But I think there's the context question in this verse. But I'm not going to go into that. So we're just going to talk about tattoos. It's just for you to be aware that there is a pushback in a lot of Christian environment based on that verse. Now that you know that we have a verse prohibiting tattoo, what do you think about it now?
It kind of changed my perspective a little bit.
Okay.
No. Made me question why you have them.
Yeah.
Because I don't know the context.
Yep.
There probably is a different context that makes it seem
Okay.
like not as like a law, like it's banned or something.
Yeah.
But it's probably like a contextual thing. And yeah.
Okay, that's good. I think that is what we want as well for you and for your generation, to ask questions, not only to accept what it is. Like, oh, your tattoo is cool, but without knowing that there is an explicit mention in the Bible, right? But then why do you have it? This sort of thing. So there's a tension there, which I want you to have. With tensions comes questions, right? So I think that's a good thing, but we're not going to talk about it in this podcast, maybe in the future one. So yeah, what about you personally? Do you think you will get tattoo?
I don't think I would like.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe
You don't
we'll
know?
see.
Okay.
Well,
alright.
I don't think I can like, handle the pain myself. I'll just be too scared.
Nah, it's not that painful. Depends on the design. So yeah, any other thing that you wanna ask or raise, Ruben?
Not much. Really. I think you did a good job structuring this.
Okay. So any questions about tattoos?
How much does it hurt?
How much does it hurt? It depends. Again, if it's a straight line, a text, wording, is not that painful. But this one, this is the face of the lion. This is very painful because it's like you're coloring something and there's a lot of shading. So it's like slowly and then but this took about 10 hours and I did it in one sitting. I shouldn't have. I should have done it in multiple sittings. It was so painful by the end of it.
Going through pain for like 10 hours straight.
Exactly, and it was so sore. It was all red. It was so crazy. But this is the latest one. It's all basically a line drawing, right? Which is painful, but not as painful as this. You can just, you can practically fall asleep while people tattooing this one. But yeah, it depends on the design. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No.
No? No? Okay, good. I think this has been a good conversation, a good initial conversation. Just to compare, my generation and your generation, because me growing up, looking at someone with tattoo, my mind is like, oh, that's a guy to be avoided. That's my reaction, in whatever setting, in public, in a mall and whatever. It's like, And the question is always like, oh, what have you done? You know, what kind of life have you lived? You know, whether have you been to prison, or are you part of a motorcycle gang? So it's different from coming from you. It's like, it's more accepted. There's like, oh, tell me more about the story. You're drawn to that. But for me, when I was growing up, my initial reaction is, don't go near anyone. You know, don't even bother asking the tattoo. Don't even ask their name or, you know, their story.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So
would you say that your setting kind of influenced that, or your time would have influenced
I think so.
that thought?
Yeah, I think so. Being Asian, raised in Indonesia, is more traditional. Is more. Yeah, I think that influenced my thinking as well. But you know, yeah, I think that influenced a lot actually.
Yeah. So why do you like it so much?
That is a good question. I think
Like every year there's a new body.
After lockdown, every time after lockdown, I just like it. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because I like tattoo as an art because it is permanent, and people don't choose tattoo out of a whim. Just like what you said, there's always a story behind it, right?
Yeah.
So every time I see someone with a tattoo, I would ask him or her, like, hey, nice tattoo. What does it say? What does it mean? Tell me the story. And the same with me. This is who I am. Well, not who I am. This is part of who I am. And this tells a story as well. The first tattoo I got is on my right hand that it says, it is finished. Because mostly I work with my right hand. This is to remind me that I work from the finished work of Jesus. I don't work to get approval from him, but I work because I have been approved by God through Jesus on the cross. Because he did say, it is finished. And that's why he keeps reminding me, whatever I do, you know, whether ministry, work, family, I work from this statement that it is finished. So there's a lot of story behind that. And like you said, you know, the Bible verse on my left that says, I will redeem you with an outstretched arm. It's from Exodus 6 verse 6. It tells a story to complement the right hand, that this is the beginning, well, one of the beginning of the promises of Jesus fulfilled in the Exodus, right? There's only one God who redeems us with an outstretched hand. That's a picture of Jesus. And God promised us way back in Exodus. So there's a lot of story. And that's what I tell people if they ask me for my story of the tattoo. So it is a testimonial thing and a conversational thing as well.
I would like to point out that when you were younger, you said like, I'm never gonna get tattoos. It's such a bad thing.
Yeah.
And then when you grew up, growing up in this era where I was growing up, our opinion was the same.
Yes.
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 So time and setting can change everything.
That is very true. That's why we're having this conversation, even because generational thinking are so different, but then yet I think we can learn from each other. Not only that you can learn from the older generations, but me as an older generation can learn from the younger one, the future. So thank you, Ruben. It's been a great talk, great initial podcast. I hope we can continue this podcast with other topics. Any last thoughts?
No, thank you for having me.
No, that's so cool. All right, thanks, guys. Well, this has been a GenTalk podcast where we talk about issues or topics from two generations' perspective. Me from a Gen X/Millennial and from a Gen Z. So until next time, have a good one.